How's it going, everybody? I am DeanoGTO, and today we're going to be looking at the M4190. This is one of my replays in this tank, and I just want to quickly mention this tank was gifted to me by Homicidal P and World of Tanks, or Bash Shap Shap on YouTube. So thanks very much for that. This vehicle here is just as good as I always imagined it would be. Now, I will admit, I'm not the best scout tank player in the game, and you're going to probably be able to tell that from this game, considering mainly what I do is use my gun. I don't really attempt to scout very much. I just fire the gun as much as I can, try and get as much damage as I possibly can, as quickly as I can. So, yeah, not really going to be a particularly good scout tank replay, but it's not too bad damage-wise. So, I am top tier in this match, and I am going to spend a lot of time over in this general area here, where I'm just trying to stop the enemy team from pushing forward on this flank for as long as possible, and trying to get as much damage as I can, as quickly as I can. Now, I'm going to mention one thing which, looking back on it, was quite a big mistake. I'm not going to use any of my HE rounds in this game, and it's because I actually forgot that those are actually one of the main selling points of this vehicle. This thing has sort of, what was it called? RU251. It has RU251 style HE rounds. So they've got very high penetration and normal HE damage. So this thing here has over 100 HE pen with a 9mm gun, which gives it 320 alpha damage with its HE rounds. So in a fight like this, as an example, against this SDA2, 100 HE pen would be more than enough to go straight through his upper front plate and penetrate him every single time, which would have allowed me to just destroy this guy with no issue whatsoever. But because I didn't think of it, I am going to make this fight a lot harder for myself than it should have been. So that's an unfortunate thing that I did over the course of this game. So I'm pretty much just trying to empty as many shots into this guy as I possibly can, and partway through this fight I have the realization that I'm out reloading this guy. My 5.7 second reload I think is actually faster than his. So yeah, and I actually looked afterwards, I think it actually is faster than this, which is kind of insane to think of. Because this is a light tank. Like, light tanks having a higher DPM than medium tanks is unheard of these days. So playing a classic light tank again is pretty awesome. And yeah, that T-2 rolled around the corner and started peppering a couple of shots into me. I happily just took the kill on him there because I actually finished a mission that I'd been trying to do for a while, which was kill light tanks and I think it's called black vehicles, which are basically Japanese and German vehicles. And I had to kill 10 light tanks, and that took a lot longer than you may have expected because, well, most of my German vehicles are these giant behemoths, and most of my Japanese vehicles are also giant behemoths, so this was really the only vehicle that I could actually do the mission in. So, yeah. I fire a shot towards the Achilles, and I'm going to try and go for the kill on this Cromwell. I fire a snapshot, actually managed to finish him off, which is awesome. Decker Max finishes off the STA2, which is a great kill for us because that's a tier 8 removed from the game for the enemy team. And they've already lost their Carnarvon Action X as well, which is also great. And Decker Max also finishes off that Cromwell too. So I'm going to start moving around between these two ridge lines pretty much on this flank because, well, for the most part, there's not really too much else I can really do because I don't want to die at this point and I don't want to be too aggressive. Because if I'm too aggressive, I will die very, very quickly. And, well, having 320 health is not going to do much whenever you have tanks like that, which I believe have like 280 alpha damage. Now, I didn't expect to get spotted for that. Now, that tells me one thing. The AT-7's probably using binoculars. Because otherwise, I don't think I would have been spotted there. And I was actually genuinely surprised when it happened. So, yeah, like, I just basically found out from that situation right there. Don't try pushing that flank until the team is ready to do it. So that's why I come back over here and start looking for opportunities for shots on the people that are hanging out over there. Fire the shot at the Achilles, managed to get the kill on him, finishing him off. And I'm going to start just trying to think like what exactly I want to do here. I'm just staring at the map, just looking to see what's the best thing to do. Now, I could try and go around, like, over to where the heavy tanks are and see if I can get some more damage, like on things like the Tiger 1, but Tiger 1 just died, so that's now an irrelevant point. And the LT-432 has actually just been spotted on top of that hill over there, basically in the tank destroyer position, which I thought was an interesting position to go to in a tier 8 light tank. And I see here, whenever I see his silhouette, that I'm actually getting a free shot on this guy pretty much because he's tracked at that point in time. And once I set him on fire, that's him dead. So that was a pretty awesome moment right there. Fire snapshot towards the Aerial 44, and the Aerial 44, luckily for me, doesn't really push towards me. I just kind of drive into this low ground. I'm kind of panicking here, trying to decide what I want to do. But, well, yeah, I was in low enough ground there that it was going to be a very hard shot for the Aerial 44 to actually hit me. So, yeah, I was actually considering jumping off that cliff there at one point, just trying to like get away from the situation so I could survive. But I realized very quickly that with 100 health, I would almost certainly die from trying to drive off that cliff. So the L44 has kind of fallen back, and we're not sure where he has gone to at this point. I'm kind of just looking around to see where the Challenger and the AT7 are, and then the L44 actually pushed forward, which was a pretty big surprise. And yet again, this is another situation where the HE rounds would have been fantastic, but I forgot about them. So yet again, more damage which I didn't get because, well, I just forgot about the HE rounds. And Dickermax yet again finished off a target for me. So that guy actually was a lot of help in this game. He finished off a bunch of targets that I was either like spotting or doing damage to myself. So that actually wound up being a pretty good tag team, bizarrely. So going to start heading over here towards where the enemy cap circle is, trying just to look to see where the enemy AT7s are. One of them is over there and has just managed to kill off the STRV-74, and there's a 112 behind the AT7, so pretty much the AT7 is probably going to wind up dead very, very soon. Another AT7 is actually spotted to my left there, but I'm very concerned about the Challenger at this point. I don't want that guy to potentially kill me off. I drive down to the low ground here trying to think about how to get below his gun. He dies to the Dickermax yet again. Timing on that's actually kind of funny. But yeah, I'm now just behind this AT7, and this AT7 has no way of really dealing with me. And he's just getting hammered by absolutely everything. And at this moment I get greedy. I try to go for tracking damage and assistance damage. It doesn't work, and the 112 just finishes him off by ramming. So yeah, me getting greedy at the end, it didn't really pay off, but well, it was still a pretty decent game. So that was nearly 3,700 damage in a tier 8 light tank, and 860 assistance damage as well. So overall I think that was a pretty awesome game. It really shows the firepower of this tank, especially when it's top tier. But this tank can have massive damage games, even when mid tier and bottom tier as well. I've actually seen some people do really, really well in this thing in tier 9 games especially, because that used to be the standard matchmaking for this tank. So this tank is actually pretty adept at fighting versus tier 9s especially. Tier 10s can still be a bit of a struggle because 182 pen, but yeah, the tank's still incredibly powerful. The DPM on this thing being as high as the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen is pretty insane if you think about it. Like, this thing is a tier 8 and has tier 10 light tank level DPMs. Now, I will admit, tier 10 light tanks don't have great DPMs just in general, but the comparison is still kind of insane. It really shows how shit the DPM is on the tier 10 light tanks, except in the Sheridan. The Sheridan seems to be the only one that has somewhat decent DPM. But one thing I just want to mention about this tank here is I think this tank is going to get at least one other like competitor in the German light tank tree. So there is a vehicle which is kind of like an RU251 that is going to be introduced at some point that is pretty much going to be a direct competitor to this tank. It'll be a tier 8 light tank, sort of German, like full-on German light tank. Like, this thing is more of an American light tank with a German gun. This other vehicle, which I'm going to leave a link to in the description, I can't remember its name off the top of my head. All I remember is it looks like an RU251, and it seems like it's going to be more mobility based than this thing, I would say. But the gun's probably going to be substantially worse if I had to guess. And also, there is the potential that the Scout Panther eventually makes into the game, but I've kind of lost hope in that at this point because the Scout Panther, I even think like Wargaming recognized in a recent Q&A that the Scout Panther was probably never going to make it back into the game, which is kind of sad for me, but well, most people are not going to care about that because the Scout Panther wasn't that popular vehicle. It had like a cult following, but it wasn't really like a vehicle everybody loved. If it was a vehicle everybody loved, like T2, I'd be confident that would make it back into the game, but because it isn't, unfortunately not. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below. I'll leave a link in the description to that vehicle that I was talking about. I'm completely blanking on its name. It was a couple months ago that I heard about it, but yeah. Let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below, and hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one.